Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. You won't believe the latest buzz surrounding the Washington Commanders and what could very well be a game-changing move in the NFL this offseason. It's not just about a signing or a draft pick. We're talking about a trade that could redefine the backfield of this team, a move that has serious implications for both the Commanders and their division rivals. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and right now, the whispers are louder than ever about a potential blockbuster involving Kenneth Walker, the young star running back from the Seattle Seahawks, and the Washington Commanders. Let's begin by setting the stage. The Seahawks, coming off a season filled with promise but also a fair share of uncertainties, are facing a pivotal moment. They are building around a new quarterback, Sam Darnold, who, despite being highly touted coming out of college, has yet to truly establish himself as a franchise leader. Darnold's arrival has certainly generated excitement, but it also raises questions about the team's offensive identity and whether they need to shake things up to truly compete at a high level. That brings us directly to Kenneth Walker, a player who has shown flashes of brilliance, but also has some red flags that might make the Seahawks consider trading him. Walker burst onto the scene in 2022 as a dynamic, explosive runner, capable of breaking off big plays and providing the Seahawks with a legitimate offensive threat. His yards per carry in his rookie season was an impressive 4.6, and he showcased his ability to make defenders miss and gain tough yards in critical moments. But, as we all know, football is a game of durability and consistency. Walker's sophomore campaign in 2024 was somewhat hampered by injuries, particularly ankle issues that saw him spending time on injured reserve. His yards per carry dipped to 3.7, a significant drop from his rookie season, and that's raising eyebrows among Seahawks management and fans alike. Now, why would the Seahawks consider trading Walker? Well, injuries are a big factor. Running backs with a history of ankle problems and inconsistent production often face an uncertain future in the league. Teams tend to be cautious about investing heavily in players who might not stay healthy over the long haul. Moreover, Seattle is entering a phase where they might want to maximize their assets before Walker's rookie contract runs out at the end of 2025. Remember, in the NFL, especially with running backs, the window for value is often narrow. Players like Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, and Marshawn Lynch have all been traded mid-contract when teams decided they needed to recoup some value before the player's production declined or injuries worsened. This is where the potential trade to Washington makes a lot of sense for both sides. For the Seahawks, they could be looking to recoup some draft capital, perhaps a third-round pick in 2026 or even a swap involving a 2027 pick, while also pivoting towards a more stable, younger back in Zach Charbonnet, who showed promising signs in 2024. Charbonnet, who was drafted just last year, has already shown flashes of being a powerful, balanced runner, capable of handling the workload and providing immediate productivity. He racked up 135 carries for 569 yards, averaging about 4.2 yards per carry, and scored 8 rushing touchdowns. His ability to break tackles and gain yards after contact makes him an intriguing future workhorse for Seattle. In Washington, the addition of Kenneth Walker would be a massive boost. Last season, the Commanders finished with a solid 12-5 record, which marked a significant step forward after years of rebuilding. They finished second in the NFC East behind the formidable Philadelphia Eagles, but what really caught people's attention was their playoff run that ended just short of the Super Bowl, losing in the NFC Championship game. That was a historic moment for the franchise, the first appearance in that game since 1991, and it signaled that the team is on the cusp of something special. Now, with a young, talented quarterback like Jayden Daniels, who threw for over 500 yards, 25 touchdowns, and rushed for nearly 900 yards, this team looks primed to take another step forward. Daniels' emergence as a dual-threat quarterback has been a revelation, and with a high-powered offense led by veteran wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who caught 13 touchdown passes last season, Washington's offense is dangerous. Add to that a rejuvenated defense under coach Dan Quinn, who has been known for transforming defenses into formidable units, and you have a team that is all in for a deep playoff push in 2025. The addition of Kenneth Walker could be the final piece that solidifies their running game, giving them a versatile, explosive option who can take over games in a way that complements Robinson and the passing attack. Now, why is this trade so plausible right now? Well, the NFL has a long history of trading running backs nearing the end of their rookie contract, especially if their production starts to decline, or if the team believes they can get better value elsewhere. Think about Melvin Gordon, who was traded mid-season by the Chargers after a decent first year, or Todd Gurley, who was moved during his final Rams season after injury-plagued performances. Marshawn Lynch, one of the most iconic Seahawks running backs, was traded before his rookie deal even expired, as a classic example of a team extracting maximum value early on. These moves show that teams are often willing to trade running backs when they see the risk outweighing the reward. Seattle, knowing they have a young, talented backup in Zach Charbonnet who has already shown he can carry the load, might see Walker as a valuable trade chip, especially if they are wary of his injury history and the possibility of not being able to extend him long-term. They could be thinking, let's get something valuable now, before his value drops further. Walker's stock was quite high at the end of 2024, and with his injury issues, his trade value might be peaking right now. If Seattle plays their cards right, they could turn Walker into a solid draft pick, say, a third-rounder in 2026, or even a future swap that allows them to continue building their roster. On the other side, Washington is in win-now mode. They've already shown they're contenders, and adding a player like Walker makes perfect sense. It's about stacking the deck, giving Daniels another weapon, and solidifying their ground game. Walker's explosiveness and big play ability could help them take that next step into genuine Super Bowl contention. His ability to break off long runs and make defenders miss fits perfectly into their offensive scheme, which has been growing more dynamic under offensive coordinator Scott Turner. And let's not forget, the NFL is a league where timing is everything. Walker's value peaks early in 2025, after a solid start and before any potential re-injury concerns creep in. The opportunity to add him before the trade deadline or even during the draft makes this scenario all the more appealing for Washington. They've been building a competitive roster, and this kind of move could be the final piece to push them over the edge. It's a gamble, sure, but it's a calculated one. They have the cap space, the draft capital, and the desire to go all in for a Super Bowl run. In terms of what this means for the division, a trade like this could shake things up considerably. The NFC East has always been a battleground, with the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and now the Commanders all vying for supremacy. If Washington adds Walker and he performs as expected, it could tip the scales in their favor, especially if their defense continues to improve and Daniels keeps ascending. The Eagles, who rely heavily on their balanced offense led by Jalen Hurts and a strong defense, might find it harder to contain Washington's offensive firepower. The Cowboys, always in the hunt, might need to rethink their defensive strategies to keep up with Washington's upgraded attack. And don't forget about the long-term implications. If Walker performs well in Washington, it could set a precedent for other teams to be more aggressive in trading running backs nearing the end of their rookie deals. It might even influence how the Seahawks approach their roster management, whether they choose to rebuild around youth or try to retain Walker with a long-term extension. The NFL is a league of shifting power, and this potential move could be a prime example of a team making a bold statement. Now, as we look ahead, it's important to remember that nothing is set in stone just yet. The trade discussions are still ongoing, and many factors could influence whether this deal happens. Salary cap implications, team chemistry, the players' own preferences, these all play a role. But given the current landscape, it's clear that both sides see the potential benefits. Seattle could be looking to recoup draft capital and build for the future with Charbonnet, while Washington is all in on their championship aspirations, seeking to add a proven playmaker. So, fans, stay tuned because this story is far from over. The NFL offseason is full of surprises, and moves like this could be the catalyst for a new division hierarchy. The Commanders are certainly making waves, and if this trade materializes, it could be one of the most talked about stories of the 2025 NFL season. The questions remain: will Seattle pull the trigger? Will Washington land Walker? And how will this impact the NFC East and the entire NFL landscape? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, this is a story you don't want to miss. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential trade? Do you think adding Kenneth Walker would propel your team toward that elusive Super Bowl? Or are you worried about the injury concerns and how it might affect team chemistry? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what you all think. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of this franchise. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis, and the latest news from the NFL and the Washington Commanders. So stay tuned, keep the passion alive, and let's keep this conversation going. Because at the end of the day, we're all part of this family, united by our love for the Commanders and the game of football. Thanks for watching, and see you soon with more.